Ford has built some of the most iconic engines in automotive history, but also some of the biggest disasters ever to hit the road. I've spent years studying, driving, and researching Ford's power plants, and today I'm ranking every major Ford engine from worst to best based on reliability, performance, and real-world owner experience. Starting our countdown at number 16, we have the Ford 2.3-liter Lima Inline 4. Now, this one earned its spot for all the wrong reasons. This cast-iron block 4-cylinder displaced 2.3 liters and initially churned out a measly 88 horsepower. Later versions barely climbed to 105 HP. Real powerhouse material, right? It powered the infamous Ford Pinto, the Mustang II, and the Ranger throughout its lengthy production run from 1974 to 1997. But here's where things get ugly. Early carbureted models were notorious for stalling, rough idle, and what owners lovingly called the lawnmower sound. Vacuum leaks plagued these engines, cold starts were a nightmare, and let's not forget, this engine was coupled to vehicles with dangerous fuel tank placements, like the Pinto disaster we all remember. High mileage examples suffered from chronic oil leaks, and performance, glacially slow, doesn't even begin to cover it. This engine failed even basic acceleration demands, making merging onto highways an exercise in prayer. Now, you might be wondering, wait, Ford made a V4? Yes, they did. The Essex V4 came in 1.7 and 2.0 liter displacements, producing between 73 and 92 horsepower with torque figures ranging from 100 to 122 pound-feet. It powered models like the Ford Corsair, Granada, Zephyr, and Consul across Europe. And the problem? This engine suffered from chronically weak output and catastrophic gasket failures, especially in the Corsair. Head gaskets would regularly fail before hitting 150,000 miles, leading to expensive engine repairs that often exceeded the vehicle's value. And the marketplace valuation? Utterly ruined. Here's something interesting. This engine is actually derived from that V4 Essex we just talked about. The 3.8-liter Essex V6 displaced, you guessed it, 3.8 liters, and produced up to 193 horsepower naturally aspirated or 230 HP in supercharged form. Torque ranged from 225 to 330 pound-feet. It found its way into the Ford Taurus and the infamous Ford Windstar minivan. But here's the kicker. This was originally designed as a diesel engine concept that got converted to gasoline. And the result? A heavy, uninspiring engine beset by the same chronic head gasket failures as its V4 predecessor. These failures typically occurred before 150,000 miles, requiring complete teardowns and expensive repairs. When the head gasket blew, you weren't just looking at a quick fix, you were looking at a complete engine disassembly. But wait, here's something that'll blow your mind. What if I told you that one of Ford's most catastrophic diesel engine failures was so bad that it required removing the entire truck cab just to perform basic repairs, led to multiple class action lawsuits, and cost owners tens of thousands of dollars, yet Ford followed it up with an even worse version that somehow managed to inherit every single one of those nightmare problems while adding a whole new list of failures on top? Yes, I'm talking about the infamous 6.0 and 6.4-liter Power Stroke diesels, and buckle up because this story gets wild. The 6.0-liter Power Stroke. Widely considered one of the absolute worst Ford engines ever produced. This was a turbocharged V8 diesel displacing 6.0 liters, producing 325 horsepower and 560 pound-feet of torque. It powered the Ford Super Duty pickups during what should have been their golden years. Instead, owners faced catastrophic reliability problems. Failed head gaskets, EGR cooler leaks, injector failures, frequent turbocharger breakdowns, constant overheating, and vibrations that would rattle your fillings loose. And here's the absolute worst part. Repairing major issues often required removing the entire cab of the truck. Yes, you heard that right, the entire cab. Repair bills routinely exceeded $10,000, leading to multiple class action lawsuits against Ford. So, naturally, Ford's response was to build an even worse version. The 6.4-liter Power Stroke was a twin-turbocharged V8 diesel displacing 6.4 liters, producing approximately 350 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. It powered the F250 and F350 Super Duty trucks from 2008 to 2010. Intended as an improvement, the 6.4-liter somehow managed to inherit all the reliability nightmares of the 6.0-liter. Cracked pistons, piston ring failures, turbocharger bearing seal failures, EGR cooler failures, and up-pipe cracks made this engine a high-maintenance, expensive liability. Owners who bought these trucks thinking Ford had learned their lesson, they learned a very expensive lesson themselves. This engine lasted only 3 production years before Ford mercifully put it out of its misery. Moving to Ford's small displacement disasters, we have the 1.2-liter Dragon TI VCT Inline 3. This naturally aspirated 3-cylinder displaced 1,194 cubic centimeters with a bore and stroke of 75 by 90 millimeters and an 11.2 to 1 compression ratio. It produced 95 horsepower and just 88 pound-feet of torque, powering the Ford Figo, Aspire, and Freestyle. Similar to its 1.1-liter sibling, the 1.2-liter Dragon aimed to deliver economy, but was hampered by weak acceleration and recurring reliability problems, including balance or shaft issues on some variants. It couldn't match the competition in either performance or longevity, making it a forgettable footnote in Ford's small engine history. The Ford 1.1-liter Duratec TI VCT is a naturally aspirated inline 3-cylinder engine that powered the 7th-generation Ford Fiesta and a few other small European models from 2017 to 2023. Displacing 1,084 cubic centimeters, it featured a 73mm bore, an 86.3mm stroke, and a 12.0 to 1 compression ratio. Power came in 2 flavors, 70 or 85 horsepower, producing 80 to 81 pound-feet of torque at around 3,500 RPM. Closely related to the 1.0-liter EcoBoost Fox engine, the 1.1-liter Duratec essentially stripped away the turbocharger and intercooler to create a simpler, cheaper, and supposedly more reliable base option for budget buyers. But here's the problem: simplicity didn't save it. Even by small car standards, this engine felt painfully slow. The 0 to 62 miles per hour sprint took nearly 15 seconds, and real-world acceleration demanded patience. Drivers reported the engine felt flat and unhappy when pushed, especially on inclines or highways. In city traffic, where it was supposed to shine, the lack of low-end torque made it sluggish off the line. Reviewers described it as underpowered and unrefined, often revving loudly without delivering much forward motion. The promised smoothness of the 3-cylinder design was marred by mild vibration and roughness, especially at idle. Efficient on paper, dependable enough for short commutes, but chronically gutless and uninspiring in the real world, the 1.1-liter Duratec ended up being the engine people bought because they had no choice, not because they wanted it. Now, this one hurts because on paper it looked fantastic. This V8 from the Modular family displaced 5.4 liters and produced between 295 and 390 horsepower, with torque ranging from 365 to 390 pound-feet. It powered the F-150, Expedition, and Lincoln Navigator, Ford's flagship vehicles. But here's where everything falls apart: timing chain failures, ignition issues, spark plug blowouts, fuel pump failures, engine misfires, and broken cam phasers. The spark plug issue alone became legendary. Spark plugs would literally shoot out of the cylinder head under pressure or break off during removal, requiring specialized extraction tools or complete head removal. The extent of damage from these cascading failures often required complete engine replacement, with repair bills reaching $8,000 to $15,000. This engine single-handedly damaged Ford's reputation for reliability during the mid-2000s, and owners still harbor resentment today. But here's where things get absolutely wild, and this is going to flip everything you thought you knew about Ford engines on its head. Remember the 5.4-liter Triton V8 we just spoke about? What if I told you that Ford's modular engine family, the same architecture that gave us that disaster, also produced one of the most reliable, beloved, and longest-running engines in Ford's history? That's right, the same basic engineering philosophy, the same modular design concept, but executed completely differently. This is the fascinating paradox of Ford engine development. Sometimes the difference between disaster and triumph comes down to valve configuration, material selection, and quality control during a specific production window. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the engines that made Ford legendary. These are the power plants that refuse to quit, that define reliability, and that enthusiasts still hunt down decades later. Kicking off our best engines at number 8 is the legendary 5.0-liter EFI High Output V8. This V8 displaced 5.0 liters, produced between 225 and 240 horsepower in late Mustang applications, with torque exceeding 300 pound-feet. It powered Mustangs and Crown Victorias throughout the late 80s and 90s. The shift to electronic fuel injection transformed this engine from mediocrity into absolute magic, creating an aftermarket and street tuning revolution that continues today. Unmatched durability, incredible modification potential, and a hot rodding legacy make this one of Ford's all-time gems. You can still find these engines running strong at 200,000 plus miles, and the aftermarket support is virtually endless. You want to build a 500 horsepower street car? The 5.0 is your foundation. Now here's an engine most Americans have never heard of, but it's absolutely legendary down under. The 4.0-liter Barra Inline 6 displaced 4.0 liters and produced between 209 and 436 horsepower, with torque ranging from 276 to 425 pound-feet. It powered the Australian Ford Falcon and Territory. This engine is renowned for its bomb-proof reliability and the absolutely insane tunability. With upgraded internals, the Barra is capable of supporting over 1,000 horsepower. And with regular maintenance, these engines easily pass 250,000 miles. Australian tuners have been extracting ridiculous power from these engines for years, and they developed a cult following worldwide. It's a shame Ford never brought this power plant to North America. It would have dominated. At number 6, we have perhaps the most indestructible engine Ford ever built, the 300 cubic inch Big Six Inline 6. This Inline 6 displays 4.9 liters and produced 150 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. It powered F-Series trucks and even tractors from 1965 all the way to 1996. Simple construction, rugged engineering, and exceptional reliability made the Big Six beloved by fleet owners, farmers, and heavy-duty truck drivers. These engines are still running in some commercial vehicles today, decades after production ceased. I'm talking about engines with 400,000, 500,000, even 600,000 miles still chugging along, delivering consistent torque and refusing to quit. If you wanted one engine to survive the apocalypse, the Big Six would be a solid choice. Okay, now here's something that's going to completely blow your mind, and it perfectly demonstrates how far Ford engine technology has evolved. What if I told you that Ford currently produces a V6 engine that's not only more powerful than most V8s from just a decade ago, not only more fuel efficient, but also a hybrid that can generate enough electricity to power an entire construction site, tow nearly 13,000 pounds, and has become so reliable and revolutionary that it's fundamentally changing how contractors and fleet managers think about what a work truck can do. Wonder which engine I'm talking about? Yes, I'm talking about the 3.5-liter PowerBoost Hybrid V6, and this is where Ford's engine technology gets absolutely mind-blowing. The 3.5-liter PowerBoost Hybrid V6 is a twin-turbocharged hybrid V6 displacing 3.5 liters, producing 430 horsepower, and an absolute massive 570 pound-feet of torque, along with a maximum towing capacity 12,700 pounds. But here's what makes this engine revolutionary: the onboard Pro-Power generator. This system can output up to 7.2 kilowatts of electricity, transforming your F-150 into a rolling power station. Contractors can run power tools, welders, compressors, entire job sites directly from their truck. And it's not just a gimmick. Owners report excellent real-world fuel economy, seamless power delivery, and impressive reliability despite the added complexity of the hybrid system. This is Ford's cutting-edge hybrid technology, proving that you can have power, capability, efficiency, and innovation all in one package. At number 4, we have the engine that started Ford's EcoBoost revolution, the 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. This twin-turbocharged V6 displays 3.5 liters and produced between 375 and 660 horsepower, with torque ranging from 470 to 550 pound-feet. It powered the F-150, Raptors, Explorer, and Expedition. This engine was a revolution in V6 engineering, delivering both muscle and efficiency in equal measure. Owners routinely report easy passage beyond 150 to 200,000 miles with smooth power delivery, responsive acceleration, and solid reliability. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost became the benchmark for Ford's modern full-size engine philosophy, proving that you don't need a V8 to tow heavy, accelerate hard, and do it all day long. This engine fundamentally changed the truck market and forced competitors to play catch-up. At number 3, we have the modern legend, the 5.0-liter Coyote V8. This naturally aspirated DOHC V8 displays 5.0 liters and produced between 412 and 480 horsepower depending on year and application, with torque ranging from 360 to 420 pound-feet. It powered the Mustang GT and F-150. Introduced in 2011, the Coyote became an instant favorite for its impressive power, linear torque delivery, and high revving design. Few reliability issues, robust internals, and absolutely huge tuning potential, this engine is capable of supporting over 900 horsepower with forced induction. Owners routinely pass 200,000 plus miles without major problems, and the aftermarket support is staggering. Whether you're building a street car, a road racer, or a dedicated track weapon, the Coyote is the foundation. This engine earned legendary status within its first generation and continues to define modern Ford performance. At number 2, we have an engine with a nickname that perfectly captures its character: Godzilla. The 7.3-liter Godzilla is a pushrod OHV V8 displacing 7.3 liters, producing 430 horsepower and 485 pound-feet of torque, along with a maximum towing capacity in Super Duty trucks of up to 21,000 pounds. Developed for heavy-duty reliability and simplicity, the Godzilla features a robust cast-iron block, forged components, and high torque delivery at low RPM. It's praised for bulletproof durability in commercial settings and serves as a competitive alternative to diesel engines without the complexity and emissions headaches. This is old-school engineering executed with modern precision. No turbos, no hybrid systems, no complexity, just a massive, torquey V8 that's built to work hard for decades. Fleet managers and contractors are already reporting incredible reliability, and this engine is quickly becoming the new standard for heavy-duty gas applications. And the number 1 best Ford engine of all time? The Ford Modular 4.6-liter V8. This SOHC and DOHC Modular V8 displaces 4.6 liters and produces between 260 and 320 horsepower depending on application. It powers the Mustang GT, Crown Victoria, and F-150. This is one of Ford's longest-running engine families, and it earned its place at the top through sheer versatility, reliability, and adaptability. This engine powered everything from police cruisers that idled for 12-hour shifts, to taxi cabs racking up 300,000 plus miles, to performance Mustangs running hard at the track. The 4.6-liter Modular represents the perfect balance: adequate power, excellent reliability, reasonable fuel economy, and a design that proved itself across millions of vehicles over more than 2 decades. Police departments trusted it, taxi fleets depended on it, and enthusiasts modified it. You can still find Crown Victorias and Mustangs with original 4.6-liter engines running strong after 250,000 miles of hard use. The modular 4.6-liter isn't the most powerful Ford engine, it's not the most advanced, and it's certainly not the most exciting. But it is the most important. This engine family defined Ford reliability for an entire generation and proved that smart engineering beats flashy specs every single time. That's why it's number 1. There you have it, Ford's engine lineup from absolute disasters to legendary workhorses. So, which Ford engine have you personally owned or worked on, and would you rank it as one of the best or worst? Drop your experiences in the comments below. And if you found this ranking helpful, hit that subscribe button and watch our previous video on 15 habits to make your Ford truck last over 500,000 miles without repairs.